spot, so deranged. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. Third degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking Hall of Fame. And I reside in the cloud. Grand wishes with these bitches. Taking pictures with the crowd and I'm out.
Yo, what's up? Happy Monday. Peace and blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Shout out to my poets, writers, content creators, musicians, all of y'all, man. Much love to you. New week. Get your bread up. Get your mind right. Let's make sure I'm on the right frequency with everybody. Hold on a second. All right, we good. Let me check something real quick. I see Sid. I see Rob in the building. Chat. They're saying I'm mute. Can't confirm or deny. All right, cool. I'm gonna bring y'all up. I got a clip I want to play for you. This is a good one, man. I know we all deal with this to some degree. You're gonna see what I'm talking about here in a minute, because I never heard of Resistance Persuasion. Let me bring everybody up here though, so we can get this show started, man. Rob, Sid, what up?
Yeah, peace, everybody.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hey.
Cool. How's everybody weekend?
Good. Enjoying we went to the beach. Supremely hot, but at least we got to go out somewhere. It was funny, we went to the playground and there was like nobody there. So a positive side to it being 95 degrees.
Better than me. I ain't messing with it. I do not like hot weather at all. If I can get away from it, I'm staying out of it. Unless we out touring, sightseeing, or something like that, I don't want no parts of it. But I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Let me go ahead and bring this up on the big screen though. You wanted to say something?
Shout out, Chef.
Yep. G14 in the build. Let me go ahead and put this up on the big screen so y'all know what I'm talking about. Brother on TikTok, he ain't have a lot of people comment on this, but I tend to go where there's a least lack of attention, because them people seem to have more common sense than the folks with the huge followings. I'm gonna let him get his bars off, and we're gonna start it up.
People hate that you're not easy to manipulate, and there's actually psychology behind this. It's called the resistance persuasion. This could happen in friendships, relationships, at jobs, with your bosses, coworkers. Once you start recognizing that someone is trying to influence you, pressure you, guilt you, or try and step away from your own understanding, you become better at recognizing what is actually happening in the situation rather than just going along with it. And some people, they hate that because the older versions of you or other people are usually just going along with it and saying, yes. Well, yes, they don't question things. They convince themselves that they're overthinking and allow the person to manipulate them. So when you say things like, I don't agree with that, or that's not what happened, you're seen as argumentative, difficult, all the things. When really, you're just not easy to manipulate. Sometimes keeping the peace is really just you being compliant. And someone describing another person as easygoing could really just mean that that person has no boundaries. Learn how to hear yourself so clearly that you are not abandoning yourself or your understanding in order to make someone else feel comfortable. You are allowed to be a really, really good person and not be easy to manipulate. People hate that you're not.
I like this one because a lot of people fall victim to it. And it's not that hard to. Opening thoughts, initial take. We'll go around the table real quick. Sid, what you got? How you feeling?
Love you, Mom.
I
I
wanna say
love
hi?
you, Mom.
I definitely agree with this, and I see it myself because I have such an interest in psychology, especially when it comes to decision making relating to your knowledge. It is definitely something that I've noticed, as well as my understanding of what's going on with the billionaire class and the political class, because there is an active movement behind the scenes led by highly powerful people to basically take power away from us. They have, like, I've seen undercover meetings that people have, like, reporters have snuck into, and they literally were recording them talk about, like, making fun of poor people and saying it was their fault, and then talking about the different ways that they can profit off of us because of our issues and insecurities. So I definitely think that's a thing. And I also do notice that it's certain types of people that fall for this stuff versus certain types of people that are resistant to it. And there's definitely an educational piece to it, in that your interpretation of the world is going to affect how you think and is going to affect who can influence. Hey, knock it off. Yeah. So, God. So it's going to affect who influences you.
I was that person. It was hard for me to say no. I never used to say no. I believe whatever somebody told me, and I support people as far as I could. If I felt like they was right, if I felt love, and then what I noticed when I started changing my ways and how much work it takes to change, that I lost a lot of people along the way because I started saying no. And then I also realized that when change is the hardest thing in the world, when that's why a lot of people don't want to do it, because it's an everyday process where you have to check yourself every single day. And the more you change, the more those triggers hit that try to get you back to your old ways. So I started losing a lot of people, and I noticed with the biggest thing, the biggest problems I had is when I started telling some people no. They couldn't take it. It's like, wait, you always down for me and da 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 da. What's going on now? And I notice a lot of times you can do a million things for a person, but the first time you decide not to whatever make their emergency yours or help them out in their situation, if they're not working to change, now you're the number one enemy. So I had to stop being so gullible. Um, we laugh right now because they say if I make a fortune, they're gonna have to manage it because I give it away. My brother called me the other day and told me I had survivor's remorse. He said I need to let it go. Even in my music, I probably need to start bragging a little bit. Well, I'm always gonna have feel for people that's struggling because I remember the times I ain't had nothing. So I was that person that was, if this a word, manipulatable. I was very gullible. I believed anything I heard, and I couldn't say no. And now that I'm a little better at it, I ain't gonna say that I've gotten away from it, but my phone rings a lot less. And at the end of the day, it's so much more peaceful because once people see that you can't fall for their drama, then they want to. You almost kind of want to. You have to be worried they might want to hurt you. So, yeah, the guy is absolutely right.
I found it funny, ironic, hilarious, and interesting. Looking back, people that I thought were losses, they really weren't. How can you really lose something that was never yours in the first place? I'm kind of piggybacking off of what you said. So I'm thinking I used to be distraught over people fighting for them. They would say certain stuff to you, and you know there's red flags there that you're supposed to just address, but you put a band-aid on it, and then the abuse or the disrespect continues, or it just gets bigger. It might have been small, but you notice the level of input that you pour out to these people is never equal. It's never the same measure of reciprocity that you would have expected. But you really can't feel it at the moment. You got to go through that uncomfortable season of discomfort. And it's like, damn, what did I really like about them? Why did I put up with so much? I'm listening to these people speak. I know they're lying. I know they're inconsistent. I know they're being selective with how they approach me versus other people. But I tolerated it longer than I should have instead of loving myself enough to be perfectly okay with saying, like, you know, incorrect. That's not it. You're wrong. Detour, we got to rewind this. You did something that I didn't like. We're not going to course correct it to benefit you. We're going to stay on course with what is going on here. No, we just deviate from our feelings, put them to the back burner, and let them proceed to abandon us in every way possible when actually we abandon ourselves for the convenience of having them around. My initial thoughts, of course, I'm bouncing off of what you both said and what he said. I yield.
Sending up bros. There you go.
Sorry, my bad. I had to switch tabs. So one thing that I'm reading about for resistance is it's basically an emotional reaction. People have an emotional reaction to the facts that they're seeing, and people have varying degrees of being able to separate emotion from decision. And I think that's a huge component because now we have a lot of people today that are not able to actually make a decision. And I think also to kind of add to that, we also have a lot of people that have no idea how to properly do research because we have the internet and because really only one generation actually grew up with it as the internet kind of progressed and changed. A lot of people have become reliant on technology to do everything for them. Calculations, writing, research, art, you name it. People are starting to rely on outsourcing their talents to other things. And I think that has the consequence of being unable to make decisions, because you can basically send it out to somebody else to make that decision for you. And then also, people will Google something and they'll see the first result and then they'll basically be like, oh, that's the answer. And so they don't actually know how to find answers for themselves, how to validate and vet the people that they're getting information from. I've seen so many people like, I saw this on TikTok, I saw this on Twitter. That's not how you get answers. You have to go to the sources. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen stuff that seemed valid, but were completely made up. So it's really, really important for overcoming what people are trying to convince you by being educated. I really think that's like the core of this, of who's able to resist and who isn't. It's the people who are willing to learn versus the people that are not. Because if you're not willing to learn, you won't put in the effort to understand how things work. You won't put in the effort to understand who you're voting for, or you won't vote at all. You're not going to understand how everything around you is affected, how prices are affected, how your food is being affected, how every way you interact in society is being affected by something. And I cannot tell you how obnoxious it is talking to somebody who's not interested in learning. I had a friend in high school that was like that, and it was excruciating talking to her because her response to everything was, huh? I don't get it. And I'd try and have these conversations with her, and I'd be like, oh, have you heard of this thing? Huh? No, I don't know what that is. And it drives me nuts. I'm like, how hard is it to just look things up for yourself? I have that happen with like friends and family members. Well, they'll ask a question and it's like an easy answer. You could easily look this up, find it on a bunch of pages, but they still are like, I don't know what that is. I don't know the answer. And then I'll look it up and tell them, and then they'll be like, wow, how'd you know? Come on, really? So, yeah, I think resistance is being able to really understand the purpose of resisting, the people behind whatever problem is going on, and how the problem kind of affects people. So yeah, I think that's definitely a key component.
I want to take this time to shout out the people that was able to say no. I want to take this time to shout out the people that, especially in the rough neighborhoods, that was able to stay straight, wasn't influenced by their peers, wasn't influenced. They are the toughest people in the world. That the ones that was able to say, you know what, I'm from here, but I'm gonna go do something. Because again, I'm from New York, and I was on them corners, and I literally at one time wanted to stay on those corners for the rest of my life. I couldn't see nothing, and I couldn't see nothing ahead. And the most that I wanted to do was get a construction job. I said, I'm gonna get construction. I'm gonna make $20 an hour. I'm gonna go to my apartment every day and hang out. That's it. That's what I thought life was supposed to be. So I want to take this time because at the end of the day, by the time you finish watching TV, you hear the radio. Now you got the YouTube and TikToks and all of this and all of that. If you don't have guidance, if you don't have someone in your ear pushing you in the right direction and letting you know how to decipher between the good messages and the bad messages, a lot of times you probably felt like I felt. Cause I could tell you straight up, I never wanted to leave certain blocks. It was just like, I'm gonna just be here for the rest of my life. So, and at that time, I probably wasn't even dumb. I was just naive. You know what I mean? But nowadays, with the attention span so short and all of this stuff going on with the socials and all of that, research. You ain't gotta spell nothing no more. You ain't gotta read nothing no more. You ain't gotta go to the library. And then at the same time, it's crazy that we not hip because now they washed the library, a lot of the books. Now you can't even get the books that you're supposed to get. So I know now it's easier to believe anything. So when you come to your senses and you begin to do the knowledge, it's tough because you lose a lot of people. And the last thing people want to feel is alone. Even with the social media is groupthink. You need approval. Everybody is searching for approval. I do it all day. I put out a post. I'm like, ooh, I ain't get 100 hearts, but what I'll do is I'll go through and look and see who hit it. So I say, okay, you know what? I got a symbol of excellence. Yeah, he's a smart guy. He hit the heart. It's either one for two reasons. It's all love, or I said the right thing. You know what I'm saying? But I have to look at it because we look for validation, and now it's easy to just go in those directions. And then now with the stuff that's going on with the government and all that, they want all of the distractions and all of that, so you don't see. They want people separating. They want people at odds with each other. They want this little person to get this charges and that person to get this charge or whatever. Dude, what did you think about this? So that you're not looking at the right things, what you're supposed to look at, so that they can keep doing what they've been doing. And it's very effective. And you got to be careful too to how much you do, because we know that in our community, especially, being smart is not something that's valued. You could be ridiculed. Being smart, being able to go in a different direction is very lonely, and a lot of times you get ostracized for it. And that's bad, because you look at the leaders in our community, like we said from last week, a lot of times when a person is in the right direction, that's the same person they make look like they crazy. And you could name it from person to person, whether they crazy or not. A lot of times when they on the right track, they disappear.
I said this earlier. I was reacting to something with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. They were talking about cheating and things of that nature. And one thing that I wanted to highlight was we size everybody up at the beginning of meeting people, especially when you're looking to possibly procreate with this person or do business with them. You scan them, you listen to a couple of words that come out their mouth, because you got a million things going on in your head at the same time, and you're asking yourself questions while you're asking them other questions. You've already gathered enough intel, maybe not as accurate as possible, but you've gathered enough opinion to kind of build your own little house of what I can do and what I can't do, how far I can go, how far I can't go. People who grift and, do things that try to keep you at arm's length or bend you at their own will, they typically do this based off of what they've gathered about you in the time that they've been getting to know you. See, there's two different situations going on. You're both doing the same thing, but I don't know if you're doing it in the ways that is best suited or the healthiest, which comes into play with the educational part, knowing definitions, having life experience, fellowship, um, knowing the effects that come with making certain course decisions within the parameters of the situation that you've embarked on. Um, you're both looking at each other for certain things. You've taken your eye off the ball. I think that gets people in trouble a lot too. So if I meet somebody right now, I got to take into consideration, all right, is this going to be a good business deal? Is this going to be something of longevity, or are we both sitting here like Magneto and Professor X at the table in the park playing chess to see who is going to be able to get their way out of this, or are we both coming here with the same goals and objectives? It, the mental game is real. It's very, very important that you know yourself. And even at the extent, if you gotta make some decisions or some sacrifices, then you have to accept and know that it's for the benefit or it's for the best. I was going somewhere and I kind of went off, but yeah, your consultant used the same metaphor today. You referring, it's weird because the only reason why I'm able to say it is because I've been on both sides of it. Like even right now, we having this conversation and we got different things going on in our head. How are we gonna best respond or give our take on this matter? I mean, because we deal with people on a daily basis. I know Rob, I know you of all people, especially you deal with kids all the time, so you know how important it is to instill certain characteristics in these underdeveloped minds that are looking for answers. The best way to go out here in the world and deal with other people. Said, I'm not excluding you because you definitely have a tough job ahead of you as well. I mean, it's like you have to understand that people are just automatic. It's just like on the internet. People are looking at your content. They're looking at your posts. Rob, you just said the likes and the people are studying. They're making decisions off the top of their head based off of what they observe. And I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to process, but that's why it's not really a joke. Manipulating people to do what you want them to do is not funny. Um, Being the recipient of manipulation isn't. I yield the mic.
As I was saying in the chat, I think it has a lot to do with your confidence within yourself, your confidence being yourself. Because if you don't have a very solid self image, you're going to be very, very easily manipulated to buy your way into the identity that you think you want. Especially because people who don't know what their genuine values are going to pursue wealth and fame as their whole thing. And that has been shown time after time that it's damaging. It's damaging to your relationships. It's damaging to your self-image. It's damaging to your future if you're only focused on wealth and fame. But that's something that a lot of people fall into because there's this perception in society, because we're such a consumeristic society, country, that you can basically buy your way, you can buy the identity that you want. I remember having that perspective for a while where I thought that if I bought all the things for a specific hobby, then I'd automatically start doing the hobby. But that's not how it works. And the same thing goes for like personality, self-identity, stuff like that. You can't, like, just because you buy the clothes and buy the car and buy the purse and buy the makeup doesn't mean you're going to automatically be granted the life that celebrities are living. And it affects our like communication and stuff like that. And as we're talking about, it also affects your ability to make decisions for yourself. Because if you are reliant on what people think of you, their opinions, your ability to get in with the whatever's popular at the moment, you're not going to be able to have any time being yourself. And being yourself is one of the greatest forms of resistance, because you're basically telling the world, this is who I am, this is all I need, all y'all can go somewhere else. And I think to be properly resistant against these types of people, you have to separate yourself from the myths that they're trying to instill in you. That 1, you need to buy their products. 2, you have to act a certain way. 3, you have to live your life a certain way. Because if they're able to control you and decide how you should be acting, how you should be dressing, how you should be interacting with people around you, you're going to be more easily led. This is something we've seen in a lot of the dystopian books, where once they take power, everyone has to dress a certain way or act a certain way or think a certain way. And if they're not, they get in trouble. And so this is why we need to embrace our identity first, because that's really your strongest power, being yourself, embracing your qualities and utilizing your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. And if you are beholden to somebody else to tell you what you need to be and what you need to do to get there, you're not going to find a system that works for you. You're not going to find a niche that fits who you are. So I think that's a big component about it. Also, because as you start to learn about yourself, you start branching out and understanding other things. Like, for example, when I started working on my own psychology and improving my mental health, that also branched off into creating a good environment for myself. And it also branched out to using it in poetry because I wanted other people to learn from my situation. I also will mentor friends and stuff like that. And so you end up learning more on top of the existing learning. That's one of the things that's so great about education is one of the common quotes in science is, the more you know, the less you know. Because as you teach yourself things, you begin to realize just how much breadth and depth there is to so many different topics. And you could delve into hundreds of topics for your whole life and never scratch the surface of whatever you're trying to learn. So that type of understanding, willingness to learn, all of that is a wall basically that helps protect you from all of the propaganda and stuff that's out there. It allows you to think for yourself, think critically, look at things with a critical eye, in a way that gives you pause. When you see something, you are going to stop what you're doing and consider it. You're going to take the time to try and understand what the opportunity is, or who the person is, or what the ideology is. And that pause allows you to make better decisions. A lot of people that are not really educated, not really focused on themselves, they're a lot more likely to be like, they said this, I have to do that, I have to buy that, I saw this in the window, this celebrity had it, I just had to buy it. So the aspect of who we are is also heavily related to our spending habits. Because as I also said in the chat, the more gullible you are, the more expensive things you'll fall into. You'll buy that $150,000 car that's going to depreciate by $60,000 in a year, or you're going to buy that $500 purse that costs them $30 to make. The more you know, the less likely you are to make a decision that will impact you for the rest of your life. And you won't be following all of these crazy rich people that are literally making their living off taking advantage of people.
Hey, one of the sayings I cannot stand, I hate it when they say, shout out to you, Chef. They say, hey, shout out to you, say you're right, you gotta be yourself, and I'm gonna make y'all laugh. If you can't be used, you're useless. I hate that saying. It's right, but I hate that saying because like why would you seek to use people like and said when you talk about being gullible, I bought fake jewelry on New York City streets twice. Ooh, I thought I came up. Fresh Jesus piece, the rope chain. The next one was the Cuban link with the Jesus hat. They caught me. They was like, "Yo, yeah, I got this right here. $15, $20." Bought it twice, even after I knew the first one was fake. Bought it, took it to the pawn shop both times. Gee, they like, man, look at this. Took the penny, start scratching it. It turned brown. Oh my God, I was heartbroken. Then I was in the phase coming from New York City. I could show you people with $100,000 worth of clothes in their closet. Apartment small as a closet itself. And the self-esteem thing was real. So I used to be like, oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna put the Gucci on, the Dolce & Gabbana, and the Louis. And thank God for my friends at Bowling Green State University who they used to say, yo, we'd be going to hang out. And they'd say, how much are sneakers? I say, they cost $250. You know, these are the latest joints out. And they said, I got these 1999 Wolverines on, and I bet you I have a better time than you. And they did. And I was thinking, you know, I got this fly stuff on, all my stuff costs a lot of money. I was gonna get action, and it was the exact opposite. People was like, man, look at this dude. If he don't get out of here with all that, you know what I'm saying? Then I also realized too, if you're dealing with people that want you because you got expensive clothes on or you got a fancy car or whatever, or a nice house, that's the last people you want to be around, because what happens when that stuff runs out? Then they don't want to be around no more. Peer pressure is another thing when it comes to being yourself and making your own decisions. That's one of the hardest things for people who don't have guidance. You gotta learn, you know, you could either learn the easy way to be yourself or the hard way. It took me years. And the only way that I got it, I had studied Black history for 20 years. When I went to all these different colleges, and what I would do every semester when I go get my books for class, I would go to the Black history section of each bookstore, Florida A&M University, Bowling Green State University, Florida State University, Tallahassee State College, which was Tallahassee Community College. I would go to the Black history section and I would use my book money that I had left over and buy these Black history books. And I had studied for 20 years straight. I used to get angry. I had to kind of fall back a little bit because I started getting angry because that's when I saw the 12-point plan that was going against the people, especially people of color. And I had to stop. I had to fall back. But once it became redundant, they all was saying the same thing. Then I got it. And I said, oh, that's when I was able to turn the TV off. That's when I was able to listen to the radio different. That's how I'm able to where now when I need to come back to my common sense, I open those books back up and go over my notes. But it saved me. Those books saved me from the programming I was commercialized in my head. Then I thought that everything I was doing right was I was on the right path, but I wasn't. And then it comes down to self-love. A lot of it is yeah, the gorilla. A lot of it is self-love. When you begin to love yourself like you're really supposed to, then you're able to tune out the distractions. You're able to tune out the things that are for you. And a lot of times when people are used to you doing what they want or being able to tell you anything, or you just going with the flow, you'll know the ones who are right because they'll get mad at you when you don't follow their directions. But the ones who are for you, they'll say, yo, you know what? Not only am I going to respect your decisions, I'm going to see if I can make decisions like you, because now they know that you change your path. And anytime when you working to better yourself, as long as you're not hurting nobody, you're not lying, cheating, and stealing, anybody that wants to manipulate you to go against that, that is a person that you don't want to be around. That's a group you don't want to be around. And it's hard. It's hard because, like I said, I ain't supposed to say where I'm from, but I'm going to always say where I'm from. Even something as simple as going around people having to fight every day, going around just to prove you was tough, just to prove you loved them. We had to fight each other all day, every day. Sometimes 5-10 hours a day. We hurt each other's feelings all day to prove our love. I'm just realizing that wasn't right, because at the end of the day, if you're around somebody you love, they're not trying to hurt you. Yeah, it's one thing to make you tough or whatever, but they're not trying to hurt your feelings. And that psychology is so prevalent in where I'm from that I'm glad to break it. And you're right, with those kids, I gotta push every day, all day, because they think that this stuff is normal, and to them it's normal. That's why I don't mind the music. I don't knock the music. I don't knock the drill music. None of that, because they really live like that. When they come on their stoop, when they come on their porch, that's how they really feel, and that's what they're seeing every day. So I don't knock it. But then what I have to do is, like somebody told me, they say, you know what? There's a different perspective. And, all I could do is lead you to the water. I can't make you drink, but at the same time, all I could do is encourage, hey, try this one day and see how I feel. Get back to me. And a lot of times it works, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of times I feel like you're talking to a brick wall, but at the end of the day, you have to keep going in that direction. And you'll know when you're in the right direction, because you'll have peace of mind and you'll feel better about life. And you'll realize, okay, every day ain't going to be sunny, but at the same time, I'd rather be here than where I was yesterday or where I was 10 years ago.
Being taught to accept certain things, that's hard to unlearn, for sure. What was I about to say? Sitting in your own stew has to be uncomfortable. It has to suck. I know, because I've done it. Having to prove yourself to somebody, that don't sit right in my spirit. I don't think anyone has to prove anything to anybody other than themselves. You show up for yourself, and when you show up for yourself, you expose everything around you for what it is, causing this chain of events to occur that basically eliminates anything that doesn't need to be around you. It's going to come in the form of arguments. It's going to come in the form of gaslighting. It's going to come in the form of you ain't did enough. It's going to be hot and cold. One day you good. You did what they wanted you to do. By the way, this is $4, $5 right here. I don't really care about all of that expensive stuff. I'm a sneakerhead though, so it's a good thing that I am not in. It would be bad. It would be very bad. I'm a sneakerhead and I'm a fitted cap person. But even with that, it's all vexation of spirit because you pointed out something that I thought was absolutely interesting. It triggered a memory. I had some nice ass Jordans on. I still got clown for them because I wear size 12. So they was like, "Oh, big ass feet, clown feet." So even it's like even when you have nice stuff, it really don't change nothing. Your character got to be right. Your heart got to be right. And the whole time jumping over hoops and trying to impress people is more for their ego than it is for you. The only one that's eating off of it is them. I stand up for myself and say, you know what? Where was you at when I needed you the most? Oh, what are you talking about? I was always there for you. I always was there. Yeah, I'm sure you were.
Stop it. Get some help.
Then it turns into every time I'm talking about this, or I'm talking about this, you always want to bring up something from the past. You always want to bring up something, and then you feel bad for defending yourself. No, we're not doing that. It goes it's in different levels: wealthy, broke, middle class. It don't matter. It stretches from one side of the yard to the other, and anybody can fall for it. So that's why I ain't really got nobody around me. My circle is absolutely zero because I have an issue with you being able to vent to me and confront me about me, but I can't do the same to you. But I thought we was cool. I thought you used to be my home, you used to be my ace. Now I want to slap the taste out your mouth. Come on, man. Y'all ain't keeping it a buck. Y'all ain't really friends. They ain't really your lover. They ain't your homie. That ain't none of them people. They just were there for their own selfish reasons. That's why I said at the beginning of this, we scan and we clock what we want to clock out of the person, and we go and get after what we want to get after the person. Then we play this hot and cold stuff with them. You get a whole mixture of unnecessary history with people that you should have never mixed with in the first place. Or if it was worth it, then they find ways to fix the problem. They understand you. They don't try to twist it. Like Rob was saying, you don't listen to me talk for 5 minutes and then when you respond, it don't address nothing that I said. That don't sound like somebody who has your best interest at heart. Or does it indicate to me that they value their situation the same way that you do?
As I just kind of commented, um, we kind of also apply that to people where we also subject ourselves to friendships, and it made what you just said made me think of this. We like subject ourselves to people that don't actually fit our personalities, who we are, the social groups that we want to be part of. We like participate in hobbies or activities that we don't actually care about because we're trying so hard to get the other people to like us and accept us, even though we're not even happy doing those things. And I've even noticed this with myself, um, in terms of the education to gullibleness. When I was in middle school, um, towards early high school, I was very, very I don't know if jaded is the right word, but I just was not aware of how the world was. My mom was very protective and hid me from a lot of things. I had older parents, and so I didn't learn what music was popular, what TV shows were popular. I got more of the like older, old fashioned type stuff. And so when I finally started really getting, also, I will preface too, the middle school that I went to was we had max 31 students in the class, and it was a private Catholic school. And so I was in a very sheltered environment, and I, at the beginning, was very gullible. Like, I didn't understand how things worked. I didn't understand what things were, and so I'd get teased a lot, because they could like, "Oh, what's that?" And I would look, or other stuff like that, and because of what I was experiencing, as well as like my mental health problems that I was having and the issues I was having with my parents, that really triggered my like research nature where I started to look up body language and symptomology of psychology type conditions. And I really set out to, I was like, all right, clearly I'm missing something, so I need to educate myself about. I need to make sure that I am up to par with my other classmates because I was tired of being embarrassed. It just felt like I couldn't connect with anyone. I didn't understand what people are saying. I didn't like. I have a hard time with understanding like facial expressions and stuff like that. And I was absolutely hopeless then. I always thought everyone hated me and stuff like that. But as I began to educate myself, one, I began to find myself. I began to find out what worked for me, what routines worked for me, what I like to do. And I also simultaneously stopped caring about what other people thought. As I developed my sense of self, as I developed my understanding of the world around me and how people work, how psychology works, it literally corresponded with my behavior around people and my ability to kind of interpret the world around me. As I started to investigate how people think, I started to recognize when people were manipulating me, or as I started to understand how people interact with me, or how to identify a specific environment, I was able to stay more safe. Because that's another aspect too, is not just people and situations, but also the places. Like people will end up in a bad part of town because they haven't educated themselves about the neighborhood. They haven't really looked into what's going on. And I've seen some people that are like completely oblivious. Like there's literally drug addicts next to them, and they're like, "Oh, look at their dog. I want to pet their like." People just make really dumb decisions because they haven't put in any effort to understand it. Um, and so I can definitely vouch for that being a part of it, because I experienced it for myself. If I was my middle school self, I would have thought that buying my way to things was the way to go. I thought that you would have had to adopt certain things, to kind of fit in, and that was the most important part. But now I realize, that most people don't care about you. Most people care about like, oh, if you fit in or not. But most people, if it came down to it and you're in the hospital or you were stuck and needed a driver, like only a select few people that would actually do that for you. Um, And so I think overall, like, there's so many different ways that people can be gullible, and education affects every single way, just in different forms. So yeah, definitely something I've noticed. I've also noticed common patterns in people that are not educated. Um, certain voters had lower education. Like, there's definitely patterns in what you know and how you behave.
That's facts. And people will bring you down to their levels or ridicule you for hitting different levels only because they don't want to work. And if your circle is small, that means you 9 out of 10 times doing the right thing. Um, because it's lonely once you get on the path that's set for you. And at the end of the day, nobody could do the job for you. So you got to take that path. But what happens is eventually people will see the truth and then they will follow. Um, you got to think at the end of the day, each one of us and everybody watching, if you did the usual, you wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? You had to find your way. Don't feel bad, deep. I got a sneaker fetish too. I used to go crazy. Now it's a race against time because I just found out if you keep your sneakers in the box too long, they'll dry rot. And I hate for that to happen. But at the same time, what changed my life with that was I had stacks of sneakers to the ceiling, Maurice, Nikes, Phoenix. Um, Never the Louis Vuittons. I still can't afford that stuff, but the Gators and all that. But one day I wanted to go out and take a drive, and I ain't have no gas money, but I had all these sneakers in the closet. And I was like, yo, that's because I can't trade them. We go get no gas right now. I had to put them on eBay or something or go try to take them play those closet. But ever since that day, this was about 15 years ago, I had made sure to balance. Like, okay, now if this gotta interfere with my bills or this gotta, yeah, I will, chef. Let me clean them first. But if it interfere with my bills, if it interfere with my food, then I don't need them. You know what I'm saying? Probably don't need them anyway. But there's a balance, and I think that you could buy all the sneakers you want as long as you ain't asking nobody for nothing. Don't buy no sneakers and think you went and got the fresh hottest sneakers and then you come ask me for money for your 3 for 3. That ain't finna happen. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, once you get on your path, can't nobody knock that, and you're gonna lose a lot of people, and I think that's okay, especially when it comes to. I got a good friend today. He said, "Man, I'm voting Democrat next time." He told me that today. I said, "Well, you know what I'm saying." And at the end of the day, knowing what I know, at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't even want to vote. You know what I'm saying? Because it's birds of the same feather. So I'm not even gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, we live, we learn. The key is that if you was gullible, if you was dumb, you don't stay that. And I'm preaching this out too, because my wife always tell me, "You so easy, you so easy. You better not let nobody get over on you. You better," because here I go. If I see you struggling or whatever, I ain't really. I just want to help you, and I'm not considering the choices that you might have kept making to do that. First of all, I ain't the judge, but at the same time, like you said, deep, and like you said, Silver, if you keep making those choices, you're gonna be in a hole. And the one thing that I learned about counseling, the reason why I don't counsel adults is we don't change till we ready, and you can't help nobody till you can help yourself. And you're not going to change till you want to change. You'll look at everybody crazy when they tell you you're doing something wrong, till you look in the mirror and see yourself. That's crazy. And I go through this. I've been going through this for years, so many times where I had to about to go do something stupid, catch myself in the mirror, and say, "Hey, this is not you." Okay, so what did I do wrong? Yeah, I made a big old hole. It's time to dig out. usually take longer to get out the hole than you did to get in it. But at the same time, when you actually dig yourself out, then you make sure that you don't go back in that same one.
What was I looking for?
Sensational.
Hey, I think we've all been there, and we can agree. You win some, you lose some. Every L isn't really a L, and there's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself. There's nothing wrong with calling something out. I encourage it. Actually, I respect it. Anybody who's really in your corner or on your side, and vice versa, if you're dealing with people that close, there's no problem with course correction or checks and balances. If you are talking to people or you got anybody around you that makes you feel small about you calling them out, that's a problem. Why is it a problem? Why do they feel like it's a problem? Stop trying to rationalize some stuff. Because everybody ain't supposed to be around you for a very long time.
You can't please everybody. Sorry for cutting you off, but you cannot please everybody.
You're not supposed to either. It's like you're basically enabling the behavior. I feel like and I'm gonna close out with this. There's a balance, so you can be yourself without sacrificing yourself. Like, I can be fun with you and joke around with you and all that, but I can still get on your ass about being a dipshit. And we still shake hands and be cool. But if you just like constantly just yes, 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 what are you teaching them? I got that problem with somebody right now. They think that I'm somebody that I'm no longer. So they keep on trying to no. But I did that. So you can't change what you did with them. All you can do is cut that shit off. Excuse my language. Cut it off. Keep it moving. I ain't with it. Let me just be who I am. If you're cool with it, cool. If you're not cool with it, you're more than welcome to go and find what fits your camp. You know what I'm saying? And this is the facts of life. Yuri van der Slush. Did I say that right? Van der Slush. I like those names, man, because they got that accent to it. But no, that's real spiel.
So you're gonna take us out with the poem?
Absolutely. I also do have an announcement finally. My book, I just found out about this week. My book is going to be going to the World Book Conference in Germany.
Minutes.
All over the world are there. I think 100 countries participate. So that'll be cool. It's in October, I think. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Hopefully it amounts to something. So far, I checked Earlier this week, I sold 40 books and then 6 digital versions.
That's fire. That's fire.
Thank you.
Party time.
Right. So I also have a poem absolutely perfect for this. It's also literally called Lamentations of the Intelligent. So it's exactly what we're talking about today. So Lamentations of the Intelligent. Scan the news, explore online. Rarely is it hard to find. The signs of common sense decline in this overtly modern time. Wisdom's trade for garbage paper, traditions lost under green acres. Those before, embraced and grateful, their logic lost as deceit is prateful. Quiet stolen, sold to devices, replacing thoughts with vicious vices. No moments left for exploring minds, bid adieu to ourselves inside. Pushing bodies full of grievance, knife-led speculative procedure, false promotion of human health, egregious displays of bastard wealth, spaces full of lies and shows, saturated self-perpetuated fakery, wallet stuffed with more dough than an overpriced bakery. The rapid overshoot of predominance, the vapid pursuit of opulence, daring the earth to reveal its worth while cursing life before it emerges. Or before it emerge. Okay, I'll have to work on that. Through pressured presence, force, giving away our lives and going forth, daring burning feet into witch-like dances, still consuming time, taking our chances.